Okay, guys, welcome back to school. Today we're going to start Unit 4. The main topic for Unit 4 is quadratics. It gets into some other things, but today we're going to be looking at graphing quadratics. So a quadratic, excuse me, it's an equation that has a form that looks like this: ax squared plus bx plus c. That might look complicated, but we've already covered y equals mx plus b, and you know that that graphs a straight line. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c graphs a shape called a parabola, and it's sort of a U shape like this, or it could possibly be upside down like that. It has to have x squared in it, may or may not have an x, and then it can have other terms a, b, c. Those don't have to be pluses, they could be minuses as well. Now for today, and today only, we are going to be graphing by hand. We're not using Desmos. So I'm going to ask you to follow along, follow the steps that I show you, and do your assignment by hand the way that I'm going to do it in the notes. So there are various steps. The first thing you always do is find what's called the vertex. A parabola, every parabola has a vertex. It's a point at the very bottom, or if it's upside down, it'd be a point at the top. I didn't sketch that very well. But that point is called the vertex. It's obviously a point on the graph, so it's going to have an x and y coordinate. There's a formula for this. The formula is x equals negative b over 2a. b and a come from up here. So b is the number in front of x. You just take the opposite of that. A is the number in front of x squared times 2. You actually don't use c in the vertex formula at all. It does not come into play. Now, again, a vertex is a point, so it has an x and a y coordinate. That formula gives you the x coordinate. To get the y coordinate, you find the y by plugging in x. So you plug it in and work it out, and that gives you the y coordinate. So that's one step in the process. I'll be doing it in every example. Second, you're going to name what's called the axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry is basically just a vertical line through the vertex. So if I go back over here to my sketch, maybe switch to red, if you can imagine a vertical line through the vertex, if you think of that as a mirror, the left side and the right side will be mirror images of each other. We call that symmetry. So that is the axis of symmetry. The good news is use the same formula as above. Remember, for vertical lines always have the form x equals and then some number. There's no y, there's just an x. Well, what's the number? The number is negative b over 2a. Use the same formula from up there. Now I wrote that differently. Here I put the negative sign up on top of the fraction bar with the b. Here I put it in front of the fraction bar. You get the same answer either way, whether the negative is in one place or the other. All right, the third step that you're going to do is make a table of values. So a table is, XY chart, like a T chart. You put the vertex from the previous steps in the middle, XY, right in the middle. And then you pick a couple numbers smaller and a couple of numbers larger. You get a total of 5 numbers. You find the y values, you plot them on the graph, and then sketch it. So that's how this is going to go. All right, I don't want to dwell too much up here. I want to have time to get into these examples. So, the instructions. Sketch the graph of each function. Include the vertex, table of points, and axis of symmetry. So, vertex. Tell you what, I've put room to the right where I'm going to put my answers. There's a little space down below. I'll do some of my work. Let me switch colors here. So vertex, x equals negative b over 2a. So b is 4, so that's negative 4 over 2 times a. A is the number in front of x squared. Remember, if there is no number in front of the variable, it's a 1. So negative 4 over 2 times 1, negative 4 over 2 is negative 2. So the x coordinate of my vertex is negative 2. To find the y coordinate, I need to plug that in and work it out. Y equals negative 2 squared plus 4 times negative 2 plus 1. And if you want to use a calculator to help you on some of these, the busy work, that's fine. Negative 2 squared is 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8 plus 1. 4 minus 8 is negative 4 plus 1, which is negative 3. So y equals negative 3 right there. So vertex, done. Axis of symmetry, all you have to do is write x equals negative 2. It's literally that. You just put x equals in front of it. So every time, this will be the same as that. Third, make a table. So like I said before, take the take the vertex you just found, negative 2, 3. Having trouble writing here. Negative 2, negative 3. Put it in the middle of the table. Pick a couple smaller numbers, like negative 3, negative 4. Pick a couple larger numbers, negative 2, negative 1, and 0. And now you're just going to plug those in here and work out the answers. That's going to be, kind of a pain. You might want to use a calculator for this just to make things easier. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'll probably erase as I go. So if we plug negative 4 in and try and work that out, we end up with 16 minus 16 plus 1. That's 0 plus 1. That's 1. Now I'm going to go back and plug in a negative 3. Negative 3 squared is going to be positive 9. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12 plus 1. So 9 minus 12 plus 1. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Now I'll go back and change this to negative 1. If you're confused, like where am I getting the numbers, I'm just plugging in these x values and I'm finding the y values that go with them. Okay, so negative 1 squared is 1. 4 times negative 1 is minus 4 plus 1. 1 minus 4 is negative 3 plus 1, which is negative 2. And then plug in 0. At least 0 is an easy number to work with. 0 squared plus 4 times 0 plus 1. That's 0 plus 0 plus 1, which is 1. Now I want you to notice something before I go any further. I mean, I am done with the table. I filled it out. We started with the vertex, did a couple smaller numbers, did a couple larger numbers, and then that was it. But you should notice some symmetry here. I don't like the highlight on that 4. Do you see that? This number, this number is the same as this number. And that number is the same as that number. That's always going to happen if you're doing your work correctly. So negative 4, 1 is here. Negative 3, negative 2 is there. Negative 2, negative 3. Negative 1, negative 2. Just plotting the points, 0, 1. See, this point is symmetrical to that point. This point is symmetrical to that point. If you can imagine a vertical line of symmetry through there, that's where that idea of symmetry sort of comes from. So there's symmetry in the table. And if you know something is going to work in a certain way every time, when you do math, it can help you get correct answers. So just do your best to connect those. Don't make straight lines when you do this. Do anything but straight lines. That's the worst. But try to make the U shape and you're done. We've found the vertex, we found the axis of symmetry, we made a table, and we sketched the graph. We did all the things that were required. The rest is just, repetition to make sure you get it. So if you feel like, sorry about that, if you feel like you need to do a lot more, just do all of the examples. Here, let me check this one. And yeah, all those answers match up. If you're good, if you think you can do this, you can stop the video and just move on. This is not a long lesson though, so let me go ahead and continue. So the vertex, find the vertex. X equals negative 8 over 2 times 1, right? Negative 8 over 2 times 1. That's negative 8 over 2, which is negative 4. To find what goes with that, the y value, negative 4 squared plus 8 times negative 4 plus 17. So that's 16 minus 32 plus 17. Negative 16 plus 17 is 1. 1. So there's our vertex. Axis of symmetry, x equals negative 4. Remember, that's always that. This number is always the same as that number. For your table in the middle, take the vertex, negative 4 and 1, and write it down. Pick a couple smaller numbers than negative 4, like negative 5, negative 6. A couple bigger numbers, negative 3, negative 2. Now we just got to plug those into here and work out the answers. So let me plug in negative 6. Negative 6 squared plus 8 times negative 6 plus 17. It's going to be 36 minus 48 plus 17. Negative 12 plus 17 is 5. Again, if you have issues with that, use a calculator. You don't have to sit there and work it out on paper if you don't want to. Let's do, I'm sorry, got a little sidetracked. Plug in negative 5. Negative 5 squared plus 8 times negative 5 plus 17. That's 25 minus 40 plus 17. So that's what? Negative 15 plus 17, which is 2. Now, my next two answers should be 2 and 5. Symmetry, symmetry. I'm not going to take that for granted. I'm actually going to do the work. But I know what should happen. Negative 3 squared plus 8 times negative 3 plus 17. That's 9 minus 24 plus 17. 9 minus 24 is negative 15 plus 17, which is 2. Check. Now let's plug in the negative 2. Negative 2 squared plus 8 times negative 2 plus 17. That's 4 minus 16 plus 17. Negative 12 plus 17 is 5. Check. So, looking pretty good. We've got our vertex, our axis of symmetry. Now all we have to do is plot points. Negative 6, 5. Negative 5, 2. Negative 4, 1. Negative 3, 2. Negative 2, 5. Connect the dots, make it a little bit of a gradual curve so it looks like the letter U, and there it is. Check number 4, and we're good. You notice the answer key is partially handwritten by me. It's just the way it's going to be. Number 6, vertex. X equals negative 4 over 2 times 2. That's negative 4 over 4, which is negative 1. What goes with that point? Y equals 2 times negative 1 squared plus 4 times negative 1 plus 5. That's 2 times 1 minus 4 plus 5. 2 minus 4 plus 5 is negative 2 plus 5, which is 3. Our vertex is negative 1, 3. Axis of symmetry, simply write x equals negative 1. Axis of symmetry is always easy if you've already done the vertex. Now plug the vertex into our table, pick a couple smaller numbers, a couple larger numbers, plug them in and work them out. 2 times negative 3 squared plus 4 times negative 3 plus 5. So that's 2 times 6 minus 12 plus 5. 12 minus 12 plus 5. 12 minus 12 is 0. That works out to be 5. I feel like I've made a mistake. I'm going to scroll down to number 6 and take a quick look. Yeah, that's supposed to be 11. What did I do wrong? Oh, I'm dumb. 3 squared is not 6. Duh, what's 3 squared? You got me? It's 9. 2 times 9 is 18 minus 12 plus 5. 18 minus 12 is 6 plus 5, which is 11. Good. All right, let's plug in 2 and work it out. Plug in negative 2 and work it out. Plus 4 times negative 2 plus 5. 2 squared is 4. 2 times 4. 4 times negative 2 is minus 8 plus 5. 8 minus 8 plus 5 is 5. Now the next two answers should be 5 and 11 if I'm doing things correctly. Let me plug those in and check it out. Plug in a 0. 0 is always so easy to work with. We end up with 0 plus 0 plus 5, which is 5. Check. Plug in a 1 and work that out. 2 times 1 squared plus 4 times 1 plus 5. 1 squared is 1. 2 times 1. 4 times 1 is 4. 2 plus 4 plus 5 is what? 6 plus 11. Check. Plot the points. Negative 3, 11, right there. Negative 2, 5, right here. negative 1, 3, 0, 5, 1, 11. We do, hopefully you can see symmetry. This is a very narrow parabola. Still try to make it curvy if you can. And that should be it. Let's check number 6 and see. Yep, narrow parabola. Got this, got this, got that. All right, last one and we're done. So you don't have a ton of these. Let's find the vertex. X equals negative b, which is already negative, over 2 times a, which is a negative 1. So lots of negatives in here. These two negatives cancel. 2 times negative 1 on the bottom is negative 2. 2 divided by negative 2 is negative 1. Now, plug that in and work it out to find the y value. Y equals negative 1 squared minus 2 times negative 1 minus 3. So I'm plugging negative 1 into the equation and working it out. What happens? Well, negative 1 squared turns into a positive 1, but you still bring that negative sign down. Negative 2 times negative 1 is plus 2 minus 3. Negative 1 plus 2 is 1 minus 3. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. That was a lot of calculating. I'm going to go down to number 8 and check my vertex, because if I have it wrong, oh, there it is. If I had it wrong now and I went and finished the problem, that would be kind of bad. Axis of symmetry, x equals negative 1. That's always easy. Have I said that already? Yeah. Now to make the table. Negative 1, negative 2. The vertex you just found, again, goes in the center of the table. Pick 2 smaller numbers, pick 2 larger numbers. All you got to do is plug those in and work them out. So negative 3 squared minus 2 times negative 3 minus 3. That's going to be negative 9 plus 6 minus 3, which is negative 3 minus 3, negative 6. I'm going to check that and make sure it's right. I'm going to check every step of the way. Yep, right there. Let's plug in, go back and erase all of this, and plug in negative 2. Negative 2 squared minus 2 times negative 2 minus 3. Negative 2 squared is positive 4, but there is this additional negative sign in front of that, so that's negative 4. Minus 2 times minus 2 is plus 4 minus 3. Those cancel out. We just get negative 3. My next two answers are going to be negative 3 and negative 6, but I'll be honest and just do the work. Plugging in a 0, 0 squared minus 2 times 0 minus 3. 0 plus 0 minus 3 is negative 3. Right there. That looked like a 20. It's 2 times 0. Just make sure. All right, now plug in the 1 and we'll be done. Negative 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 3. 1 squared is 1. Negative sign in front of it. 2 times 1 is 2. Negative 1, negative 2 is negative 3 minus 3, which is negative 6. Check. All right, plot the points and we are good. Negative 3, negative 6 here. Negative 2, negative 3 here. The vertex, negative 1, negative 2 there. 0, negative 3 here. 1, negative 6 there. Connect them in a U shape. Well, this time it's an upside down U. I don't know if there's a word for that. You want to get fancy, and go ahead and sketch in your line of symmetry. I don't require that, just as long as you have it written over there. That's fine. And that's it. That's number 8. So it is kind of labor intensive, a lot of steps, a lot of calculating. You can use a calculator to make things go easier if you want. But again, you only have 4 homework problems. So hopefully that balances out with the amount of busy work. All right. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will talk to you again soon.